Hello YouTube, you are looking at a Adcom GFA-555 Mark II, and we are going to be doing a filter capacitor replacement on this amplifier. I have already taken out the large filter cap, and as you can see, it's the original cap. It's a Adcom branded 15,000 microfarad at 100 volts. I did a quick test on these caps, and 3 of them are fine, and this one that I'm actually holding in my hand, it's coming up at only 10,000 microfarads. And I can show you how I came out with those numbers here. I've got a little capacitor tester here that we use to just check for capacitance. A couple leads here. And this isn't the most accurate device that's available for this, but it does the job. So what we'll do is we'll just connect a couple of leads, and then we'll go down here and we will connect our leads to the terminals of the capacitor. Number positive lead, kind of hard to do this with one hand. And of course the negative came off. Let me just pause this and I'll get that set up. One thing I wanted to mention before I get going on this project is the obvious safety precautions you need to take when you're dealing with high voltage equipment like this. These capacitors, when fully charged, will charge up to 100 volts. And you can see there it'll do a surge of 125. So that's enough voltage to give you one heck of a shock. So what you want to make sure is that your caps are completely discharged before starting any work on them. This amplifier hasn't been on in a couple of days. I've actually left it unplugged. And also, if you look on the undisturbed caps down here, there are some resistors across the terminals right from the manufacturer, and that, if you can see right there, try to focus in here, right there. So these caps will be discharged once the power's turned off. So that's a good thing. And there's several ways you can discharge them. Some people like to grab a screwdriver and go across the terminals like this. Not a good idea. You get some nasty sparking. Best thing to do is to get a resistor, maybe a 5-watt resistor or something, and put that across the terminals. Just hold the resistor with a screwdriver, and that'll dissipate the energy within the cap and get it down to zero. If we look here, if I get my multimeter and just put it on volts, and if I put it across the terminals here, so as you can see there, still got about 131 millivolts. 132. 133 of energy. That's perfectly fine. You're not going to get a shock from that. But anyway, just safety precaution. The caps left Texas last night. I'm expecting them here this afternoon, and we'll go about installing one. Okay, we've got our leads hooked up to our cap. Now I know this cap is good because I've tested it in the past. Alright, and we're just going to come over here to our tester and press the button. And of course the lead came off of there now. Okay, and let's see what we got. Takes longer for big caps. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so as you can see, we're at 15.92. In other words, 15,000 microfarads. Okay, so we know that this cap's good. Our ESR is low, so that's a good cap. So I will show you a bad cap. So I've already taken this one out, like I said. And we'll connect our leads to this one. Already marked this one no good. Not having a lot of luck with these alligator clips. Okay, I get a solid connection there. Alright, let's give it a go. Alright, now we're testing this one. And as you can see, it's low. It's only coming in at around 10,000 microfarads. So this cap's shot. It's done. So we've got 4 on order. I'm going to be replacing it with the exact same specs, another 15,000 microfarad 100 volt. I've ordered from Mauser. I've ordered 4 United Chemicon, and they should be arriving soon. And once they come in, we'll go over the process of replacing them. The only difference is that if you have a look here, we'll go to the side that hasn't been touched except for the negative terminal here. If you have a look here, the spacing on the screws here is about 28, almost 29 millimeters. And I couldn't find something with the exact spacing. So what I've ordered, the Chemicons I ordered have a spacing of 22.2 millimeters. So what I'm going to have to do here is, if you come over here, these 2 little boards sit right on top of the caps, and they screw right in. And then this, where this rectifier is mounted to, connects right over there, and it connects to this board over here. So I shouldn't have an issue with the distance between the 2 capacitors, but I am going to have an issue with the distance between the 2 screw holes. So what I've done is I've measured the 22 millimeters, and again, from here to here is about 28.5 millimeters, and I need 22, so I should have more than enough space on here to drill some new holes and to mount this across the new terminals at 22.5. So what we'll do is, once the caps come in, we'll measure again, and I'm going to get my drill and I'm just going to tap through here, and hopefully that fits. And again, it shouldn't be too much problem getting the distance between the 2 caps this way for where the rectifier sits. But again, the issue is going to be getting these the correct distance. And I could have went with a snap-in type capacitor, and that's what I was going to do originally, but that would have required a little bit of modification and running some wires up into the board here and tapping it down. I figured it'd be a better idea just to go with screw terminals again and just modify these existing boards by drilling some new holes. So that's where we're at right now. This amp is probably, I would say, late 80s, early 90s, so it's probably due for recap. I've already replaced the capacitors on the amp boards here. There's four 47 microfarads I put in at 250 volts, and I've replaced the caps here as well. And these are all Panasonic FM and FC caps, and there's two smaller caps back there. I've also changed the wiring for the input, where the RCA jacks are. Someone owned this amp before me and didn't do a very good job with these. Just ran some standard copper wire. These are actually the internals of Acoustic Research Master Series audio. So I've twisted them and resoldered them into the board. So that's where we're at right now. I will get back to this video once the new parts arrive, and we'll go over the drilling of the boards and installing new master filter capacitors. Ooh, look what just arrived. You know, I have to give Mauser some credit here. I usually order from DigiKey, but they didn't have what I needed this time, and so I ordered these from Mauser. They were not cheap. They were 27 Canadian dollars a piece. Shipping was free because it was over $100 order. But I ordered these last night at around 7 o'clock, and it's now 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's less than 24 hours from Texas to my door. So pretty pleased with that. So I get this bag open and have a look. Oh, and by the way, my door is in southwestern Ontario, Canada. So I'm pretty impressed by that amount of time. So here's the difference in size. The originals are on the left, and here's our replacements. United Chemicon U36D series. So we have got a slightly narrower diameter, and you can see there we've got a shorter distance between the screw terminals, and we've got a taller cap as well. The rings for mounting them on the bottom are going to be a little bit of a challenge. As you can see, it's going to be a little bit big. So what I'm planning on doing is filling this area here with some sponge or some kind of material, probably a foam material, just to keep the cap tight when it's down, mounted back in the chassis. Okay, I've remeasured the distance between the two terminals on the new caps, and it's 22.5 millimeters. So what I've done is I've come in here, and this is where I'm going to have to drill my new hole, and I'm going to do it on this side because there's more material here. And I've measured from the center of this hole to 22.5 millimeters. I don't know if you can see that or not. I've made a little mark there. So I'm going to get my drill, and I'm going to make a pilot hole, and I will keep expanding the hole until I get to the same diameter as the two existing holes. So I've laid the parts down on a cloth because I'm not removing any of this from the amplifier. I'm going to be doing as little detachment of wires as possible. I do not want to make any mistakes or accidentally wire up something wrong. So I've just put this cloth down here to catch any of the shavings, and then it's easy to shake out. And when I'm done, I'm going to take the unit out in the garage and give it a shot with compressed air and make sure there's no shavings left in the machine. What I'm going to do first is use a small bit, and then I've measured this drill bit, which just fits perfectly in this hole, and it is a 3/16. So let's drill the first hole. Knew that was going to happen. Drill bit got a little grabby there. I'm worried that once I go all the way, I'm going to open this completely. But it shouldn't be a problem because there's still conductive material here, and once it's clamped down, they supplied screws and lock washers, so I don't think it'll be a problem. You know, we'll get a lock washer down on there, it'll clamp down fairly well, even if this hole does open up. Okay, I'm going to go with the 3/16 now. Hopefully it doesn't bite right away. Okay, that was better. Check our screw. Ah, good. And it did not tap any other hole. So the question is, are they close? I'd say that's right on. Good, so that's one. I'm going to do all four, and then I will come back. Okay, the two caps are mounted. What I'd use is some foam just tucked around the sides of them. You can kind of see there where they're just taking up the extra space for the width of the capacitor. I might look into some new brackets, but I just want to get this going for now. They won't move, they're good and solid. They are tightened up, so they're not going anywhere. And once the bridge rectifier is back in place and it's all tied up, it's going to be solid, so it's not going anywhere. So now we're going to reattach all the connections on this side, and I'm going to do a quick test just to make sure it fires up, we got no sparks or smoke or anything like that, and then we'll do the other channel. Okay, I've got everything loosely fitted in. What I did is I put there's a little lock washer, it's got some teeth in it. I put it underneath the wire here, so it'll actually bite into this conductive material here that's on the board when I tighten down the screws. Good. It looks like we're doing pretty good here. We're all lined up, so it's just a matter of tightening our screws down and checking everything, and then hooking this ground back up. Because these caps are a little bit taller, this main ground here, it's going to be, that's level, so that's how much higher the new caps are. But it should be okay for me just to get that screw back in there to do some tests. I guess we should tighten these down. Don't want that to move. I'm just going to tighten these down and come back. Okay, we're all buttoned up. We're good and tight on there. I have reattached that screw there just to complete the connection. I have checked. Polarity is good. Everything's tight. Nothing's crisscrossed. So I'll throw the switch on her. That's a good sign. One thing about the GFA-555 is that there is no speaker protect relay. It's a criticism of the amp. So if something goes, there is a possibility that it could take your speakers with it. But it's such a great sounding amplifier. I'm hoping by making sure that everything's in good condition and changing out all the old electrolytics, hopefully we don't ever have to worry about that situation. Anyway, just going to fire up some tunes here. I got preamp hooked up, a CD player, and make sure we got sound. Hoping that music is royalty free. Anyway, I think that's all I'm going to do as far as this amp for tonight. I'm going to unplug it and make sure everything's nice and discharged. I don't want to be sticking my hands in there right now, even though it does have those discharging resistors in place. We're just going to let it discharge overnight before I tackle the left channel. And anyway, the left channel will be identical to the right, so if you are interested in doing this job, hopefully that gives you a little bit of an instruction on how to complete it. Parts are available from Mauser. Once again, big thumbs up to them for some really good service. Getting parts from Texas up to Southern Ontario in less than 24 hours, fantastic. And I'll probably be throwing those old Adcom caps on eBay, so if you're in need of 3 good caps and one kind of iffy one, check eBay soon. Thanks.